Hey, how's it going, dear viewers? AK here, and I have remade the Chinese pinyin system. And this is a overview of what I did, basically. Well, let's first take a look at the existing pinyin and their description and IPA symbols. You can find these basically anywhere, so if you want to take a look at these, just pause the video. And here's the original Pinyin system. I'm gonna make this a little smaller, shrink it. Okay, so I made this list, this chart in 2012. Over here, I used V instead of the U with two dots because I didn't have that on my keyboard at the time. I made this at work for the new learners of Chinese at the time. Anyways, on the left side are the initials or the consonants, and on the top line, top row, we have the finals or the vowels. These are the original pinyin, which is the system we're using right now. Now, obviously, it has several issues, I would say. One is the with these four consonants, bo, po, mo, fo, when they are spelled with just B and O or P and O, M and O, and F and O, they are pronounced as bo, po, mo, fo. You can clearly hear that there's a U sound in between the B and the O. Bo, U, O, bo. Okay, you can hear the U there. And same with the P, M, and F. However, when you are writing it out using the pinyin system, you just write B plus O or bo plus wo, and same with the P, M, F, or whatnot. However, when it comes to the G or GKH, L, N, T, D, these ones, they add the U between the consonant and the wo sound at the end. So for words like duo, tuo, luo, nuo, guo, kuo, and huo, you write these as D-U-O, T-U-O-L-U-O, whatnot. But for the first four, you just write it as B-O-P-O-M-O-F-O. Now, this is obviously a bit of a mismatch, and originally there's a reason for it, because all of the initials in pinyin contains a vowel already, so it's already a consonant plus vowel system here for the initials. This is not b, it's bo, and this is not p, it's po. So it has the u, has the wo sound already placed within the consonant itself or the initial itself. That's why you can omit it when you're spelling it out using pinyin. But it causes quite a bit of confusion for new learners of Chinese, the Chinese pinyin system, because, well, this one, they all sound like they have the same vowel, but some of them are spelled with a U, some of them are spelled without a U, and it definitely is confusing to many new learners, and even me when I was learning phonology at the a few years ago. Okay, that's one of the issues with it. The next one is the U letter. Here I used V because I couldn't find the U with two dots at the time on my keyboard. This is a problem because it's used a lot in pinyin, and this sound is used a lot in Chinese, in Mandarin Chinese. However, without a proper symbol for it on the general American keyboard, the English keyboard, it gets very difficult to type, especially with the last names Lu and Lü. Lü is an extremely common family name in China, and the spelling of it has changed for several times over the last couple of decades. Originally, it's written as just L plus U, which is exactly the same as Lu and lu were written the same in English, or transliterated into both the same letters. That's obviously problematic because their name is Lu, not Lu, and they're written very differently, and they have completely different meanings. Later on, people started using V in place of the U with two dots. Well, that's because V doesn't really exist in modern Mandarin as a spelling letter, but U exists, so people just use V instead of the U or U with two dots. However, that has changed again recently. So during that period, people with the last name Lu write their name as LV. But now the system has changed yet again in, I think, last year. Now it's spelled with LYU. It's spelled with LYU instead of LU or LV. And of course, that causes problems on a lot of people's passports when they're booking a ticket, for example. They need to, despite having the exact same last name, there are 3 different ways to transliterate it or Romanize it into English. And that's obviously a problem. Next one, we have this, the I here. With the Chinese pinyin I, it has 2 sounds. It has 2 sounds. One is the common yi sound, so B plus I, B, P plus I, P, M plus I, me, and of course we have let's see, L plus I, li, N plus I. This is a different problem. I'll address it later. Ni. Okay, yeah. So we have the yi sound for the I, but we also have a non-existent sound, or the sound, for this set of consonants or initials. Z, c, s, zh, ch, sh, r. These 7 initials have the pronunciation that I have just said, but when they're written out, they write it as Z plus I, or C plus I, or S plus I. Z, c, s. That's how they're Romanized. But the E sound obviously doesn't exist for these letters, because it would, instead of sounding like Z, C, S, it would sound like Z, C, C, right? Obviously, it doesn't exist. That's not how it works in Mandarin Chinese. So this issue will be addressed as well in the new Pinyin system. And last one here, I don't think it's necessary to make any changes, but I need to mention it anyway. We have the regular N for Mandarin, as well as the basically the Spanish N with the squiggly thing on top of it, squiggly accent on top of it. Just listen to these characters: na, nai, nan, nang, no, nu, nei, nen, neng. Okay, these are the n sounds. But next one, ni, nian, niang, niao, nie, nin, ning, niu. Now these ones, when we have the N plus I sound, the N becomes the ny sound. Otherwise, if we were using the n sound instead of the ny sound, this becomes ni, nian, niang. But in reality, it's ni, nian, niang, and etc. This needs to be mentioned, but it doesn't really need to be addressed because, well, it doesn't really have any conflict, because in Mandarin Chinese, we only have ni, we don't have ni at the same time. So, since there's no conflict, I don't see any reason to make any changes here. The next issue is with the ng. Back then, we spell this letter here, this character here as en, but now it's spelled as ng. Well, and of course that the ng would be the more correct pronunciation for this character because it's it's just the nasal sound. And well, let's take a look at these three characters just so you can differentiate between en, ng, and eng. N, it has and plus becomes n. Next we have it's just the nasal sound. And the next one is it's plus becomes Yeah, so these three are different. But oftentimes people, or at least in the old Pinyin system, these get mixed up a lot. And we need to address this problem, obviously. Yes, it seems that this is the issues we have so far. Let's move on to the new system that I have created yesterday. Now, in the new system, I've highlighted some of the changes. Over here, I only highlighted the n, the n and the ny, but really it doesn't need to change at all. I've only highlighted it because there is a bit of a difference, but it's unnecessary to make any changes. The main changes here are the u or the yu. Instead of writing yu as v or u with two dots, I thought that it's probably better to write it as I plus u. In the old system, this is the u, this is pronounced as u, but in the new system, I want to change it to yue, the yu, I plus u now equals yu, and the old I plus u, the u sound is now I plus o plus u. Because, listen to it, you, you can obviously hear the o in you, and of course you can also hear the yi sound in you. E plus o equals you. And well, this change makes the u sound more accurate to the actual pronunciation. 谬, 丢, 六, 牛, 就, 求, 修. Hopefully that makes sense. And the yu is now I plus u. So here, instead of making a whole extra symbol or make drastic changes, we just use what we have already. Now, my point is that I want to make these changes as little as possible and keep the original system as much as I can. This way we don't have to basically reinvent something completely, so forcing people to memorize an entirely different set of things. We just make a few changes so the Pinyin system make more logical and phonetic sense. So yu now is I plus u. 绿, 女, 句, 去, 许, 于. Yeah, so even for the 七, 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 一 line, we still use I plus u. And consequently, the ones the vowels or the finals that use the yu letter here also changes to I plus u. 月, 晕, 远, 约, 晕, 远. 略, 虐, 绝, 均, 卷, 确, 群, 全, 学, 群, 选, 越, 云, 远. Okay? And let's go on to the next set. Like I said, the bopomorpho line, it contains the wu sound, but it's not written. So why not just write it in? buo 博 puo 破 muo 摸 fuo 佛 So now everything aligns perfectly. 博婆摩佛多托洛诺 All of them are U plus O. No more confusion. No more questions about why does this one not have a U despite having the Wu sound, and this one have the Wu sound and it needs the U letter. Yeah, no more of that. No more of that. And as for the NG, it's already been changed in the last year with the last couple of years. Is now just NG. Next one, we have the non-existent set. So for the 滋滋思 zhi chi shi ri, these initials, instead of writing it like Z plus I, C plus I, we just use the consonant itself, just Z by itself, C by itself, S by itself, whatnot. Because you don't need the I, it just serves to cause confusion. It's not a yi sound at all. It's just the sound of the initial itself. 滋呲思 zhi chi shi ri. Not z c c g chi shi ri, right? Now if we just use the original initial letter by itself, it works perfectly fine, and it eliminates any confusion with the I letter. Lastly, I want to mention is this 我. I want to add the U into it as well, so WUO makes 我instead of just WO. Obviously, WO is, well, W and U is the same sound. It's just one is used as a vowel, one is used as a consonant. Well, I'm putting it as WUO again just to reduce confusion. Well, essentially that's all it is. Yeah, changes to the U, changes to the 波普莫佛 with the UO, and changes to the I, the E sound. So this line no longer causes any confusion. These are the main points. And lastly, I want to mention why I didn't make any changes to the existing lettering of these. Like, for example, ZH it sounds closer to the English DR, CH sounds closer to the English TR, and Q sounds closer to the English CH. I don't see any reason to make these changes, but because there's no reason to cater to just the English speakers or English native speakers for this purpose. I mean, you're learning a new language, and it's important to adapt to the new system. Also, there's no need to force the existing Chinese 1.4 billion population to make these changes either. They've already been using the Q for the last 70 years, so why make them change the 1.4 billion people how they've done it in the last 70 years, right? So yeah, that's why I'm not changing any of these to make them sound closer to the English lettering.